What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Omen back with another What If, and we're doing part 3 of What If Asta Was Born with White Flames. And guys, I would like to say that we hit 100 subscribers. Like, we got 100 subscribers, man. We're in the 3 digits now. We on the road to 4. Our next subscriber goal. Because, for this month, we already hit everything I wanted to hit this month. Like, we hit 100 within 3 weeks, and that's all I wanted to do, really. Like, that's really what my mind was on. Like, I was going to build it up to that. But we hit that, and I'm not really going to go set no new goal to the next month. So, we really did everything we had to do this month. And we succeeded, bro. We did good. So, let's get right into the what if. Asta holds his sword in the air, and he examines the oversized weapon. This isn't a normal sword. It feels completely different from an ordinary metal sword. From on side of Yuno, the wind spirit looks at Asta and she gasps because his aura is so vibrant and hot. Once the knights begin to leave the dungeon, it starts to crumble down and everyone rushes out, and Yuno creates a wind tornado to make everyone leave with him. As they're doing this, they scream to Asta to hurry up while they're leaving because he walked away while they were in the treasure room and he began to wander somewhere else. As Asta was wandering, he meets up with the diamond mages and he screams at them and tells them what are they doing here. The ash mage from before sends his minions to fight Asta, and Asta smiles. He takes out his sword and he rushes in at one of them and cuts them down. The ash mage begins to throw ash blasts towards Asta, but Asta blocks every attack with his sword and he even deflects some. After a while, Asta begins to approach the Ash Mage and he points his sword directly to the mage's neck and makes him talk. The Ash Mage tells Asta how his home is very poor and he has daughters to feed. Then he begins to beg for his life. Asta feels a little sympathy for the man and he allows him to leave. If I ever catch you here again, I'm not going to be so lenient. Once Asta gets his okay, the mages begin to run out of the dungeon as it crumbles down. Once they leave, Asta has to figure out a way to get out of the dungeon, so he shoots the roof with the white flame blast and he envelops his entire body in flames and fly out of the dungeon. The other knights are really worried about Asta at this point because the entire thing collapsed and a huge explosion was heard. But then they see a white light in the air and they begin to get really happy because it's Asta flying away. Mimosa begins to get really emotional when she sees that Asta's okay. The knights then meet up with each other, and they are happy that they're okay, and Klaus says under his breath that he's glad Asta's okay. Asta hears Klaus talk under his breath, and he asks him, "What was that, Klaus?" Klaus tries to act like he didn't say anything, and everyone begins to laugh. Once the Black Bulls return home, the rest of their crew congratulate them on finishing their first dungeon. Luck asks Asta for more training, and they go outside to start their training. As the two were training, Asta overhears someone smacking inside of a bush, and he sees that it's Charmy, and she blushes. But then Asta ignores it because he thinks that's pretty creepy that she's watching him and eating at the same time. Eventually, when Asta's done training, Charmy offers him a meal, and he enjoys it, and he sees that his strength come back. During the week off that Asta had, he trained with his swords, and he's even discovered another one inside the book. Asta thinks that this sword is really special because he can push his power inside of it and it lights up and turns white. Once Asta's week off ends, Yummy tells him that he'll have to do a mission report and tell the Wizard King everything that happened during the dungeon raid. He also tells Noelle to go along with Asta. When Noelle tries to get on her broom to fly towards the capital, Asta tells her to get off of it, because if she rides with him, they'll get there much faster than what she would have got there. Asta uses his flame creation magic, and he creates a white griffin. Wow, Asta, no line, this isn't very vermilion of you. Asta laughs and tells her that he's the strongest one, so he has to be different. As they fly throughout the lands, the people on the outskirts of the capital looks up into the air and admire the flaming creature that Asta created. Once they arrive towards the capital, Noelle and Asta starts to make their way towards the Wizard King, and they meet up with Yuno and his crew. Klaus greets Asta. "Hey Asta, I haven't seen you since the dungeon. How are you?" Everyone looks at Klaus like he's sick or something because he's acknowledging Asta and not treating him poorly. Asta answers Klaus, then their conversation stops. Asta directs his gaze towards Yuno, then he tries to punch him in his shoulder. But Yuno catches his fist, and they look at each other and smirk. Asta then greets Mimosa, and she blushes and runs away. Noelle goes after her to see what's wrong with her, and she tells her how she feels about Asta. Noelle looks at Asta, then back at Mimosa, and she starts to laugh. "You actually like that monster?" And Mimosa blushes even more. The group starts to walk towards the castle, and Klaus and everyone else get surprised when they see Julius, and they bow But Asta doesn't, and he just scoffs upon seeing him. Asks everyone why they're so shocked when they see this guy, and Asta tells him that that's the Wizard King. Is then also shocked when he hears this because he wants to become the Wizard King, and to see him face to face is like seeing his hero. Once they make their way inside, gives Julius his grimoire, and Julius reads his spell. So he's the one she's picked for his generation. Julius tells that it's amazing that he's gotten that from the dungeon, and he tells him that spell will grow alongside him. And tells him that he doesn't know how to access it yet. And Julius tells him that he will learn soon. Julius also notices the 2 grimoires that Asta has, and he completely geeks out. Asta, since when did you have 2 magics? Can I see? Please, please, please? Asta groans, and he tells him no, but Julius continues to ask him, and Asta finally gives in and gives the grimoire to him. Asta tells Julius that he has anti-magic, but he can't really read any words inside of the book. Julius tries to read it, but he also can't understand a word. And Asta pulls out his demon dweller sword, and he shows Julius, and Julius tries to hold it, but Julius realizes that the magic is being sucked out of him. This must be the effect of anti-magic. Julius hands the sword back to Asta, and everyone questions why Asta acts like this around the Wizard King. It's because he's been around for most of my life, and he's always bothering me about my flames. He's basically another uncle to me. Once Asta explains this, everyone understands because they see how Julius geeks out about magic. They start to walk into the room where the rest of the Magic Knights are, and Fugolion greets Asta, and Asta introduces to his uncles. Yeah, this is my rival. He's nowhere near my strength, but I'm pretty sure that he's as strong or stronger than most of the other Magic Knights, and he also has a 4-leaf grimoire, just like me. So it's only right that destiny makes him my rival. Leo tells Asta that he can't forget about him, and that he's becoming stronger every day, and he's going to catch up to him soon. Asta laughs at Leo, and the 4 begin to talk amongst each other. Noelle still gets bullied by her siblings, and Asta notices this, but he doesn't do anything immediately. Noelle begins to tell Noelle how she's a disappointment, and that she shouldn't let one win get over her head. At this point, Noelle is devastated, because all 3 of her siblings are ganging up on her, and they're not saying anything nice about her. As the insults get worse, Asta directs his gaze towards the siblings. You all are pathetic. Just because my mom and uncles tolerate you doesn't mean I will. Ibra and Solid begins to laugh at Asta. What is a beast like you going to do about anything? Go back to the volcanoes and drown in fire or something. Asta smirks at this comment, and he starts to raise the temperature around the room. The siblings throw their attacks towards Asta, and as they're approaching, Asta holds out his hand, and a shield of white flames appear, blocking the incoming attacks. Asta pulls out his demon dweller sword, and he rushes towards both of the siblings to cut them down. But before he could reach them, he finds himself wrapped in the arms of a sand knight. You shouldn't behave this way at a ceremony. Asta summons his flames, and the sand begins to melt, and it falls towards the ground, turning into glass. The member of the Golden Dawn becomes really shocked at this. There's no way his flames are that hot. Solid shoots a holy spear towards Asta, and Asta uses his sword to deflect the attack, sending it right back towards Solid. Asta then rushes towards him, and he strikes him in his face and knocks him out. This is when Noelle starts to release a cold pressure around the room, and he walks towards Asta. You should really learn your place, kid. Your mom isn't here to save you this time. Asta then turns around, and he clenches his sword as tight as he can. Then he starts to release his own pressure, and the heat coming off his body cracks the windows. The knights all around the room that are watching this begins to start to sweat. He's actually standing up to a captain. Fugolion grabs Asta's shoulder, and he tells him to calm down. Both of the pressures disappear. Noelle smirks at Asta, then walks away. One day, I'm going to destroy that guy. Fugolion then walks over to Noelle, and Noelle calls him a disappointment, just like Asta, and a disgrace. Fugolion couldn't keep his calm composure, and he starts to flare up his own magic, and the two starts to face off. Looks at Asta. Why do you seem so unfazed by this? What is wrong with you? Asta scoffs. They're not even releasing all their mana. There's no reason to be scared. Amaze soon bursts open the doors, and he screams out that the capital is being under attack. Asta smirks at this, because this is when he can release some of the tension he has built up inside him. Asta turns around, and he blasts a hole through the wall, and he flies out of it, going directly towards where the crime is happening. Leo starts to follow Asta, and he screams out, "You're not gonna leave me behind!" The rest of the Magic Knights begin to come up with a plan, and Fuegoleon goes to catch up to Asta and Leo. Once Asta arrives to his destination, he shoots a fire blast towards Rades, and he jumps back before it could hit him. Asta then sends a gust of flames, disintegrating each of the zombies around the little girl, and he flies down to her. "You're safe now." Asta then creates a dome of flames around her so she won't get in his way. "That was hot. You're gonna pay for that." A herd of zombies rushes towards Asta, but Leo shoots his flames, destroying each and every one of them. "I got your back." Rades summons his puppet Jimmy and all the other zombies all at once to go and kill Asta and Leo. Asta smirks at this, and he raises his hand in the air, and he screams out, "Eminence, peer!" And a huge flame shoots out from the sky onto Asta's enemies, and they all disintegrate all at once. Yuno looks up at the sky as this happens, and he smiles. "I can't let him show me up." Fuegoleon looks at Asta and he smiles. "My sister would be proud." Once the fire from Asta's attack disappears, Rades is inside of a dome that one of his summons created. Rades starts to brag because of this, but as he do, the summon then falls unconscious and the shield disappears. Rades starts to shake in fear. There's no way. He took every one of them out with just one attack. Rades screams out loud that he's the strongest and that he can never lose. But Fuegoleon steps up and he wraps him up with his flames. Every district is soon saved by the Magic Knights, but then they're under attack once again, and they all get transported away from the capital. Before the portal under Yuno could get him inside, his grimoire shines and then he flies up into the air before he could be teleported away. The witch appears by Yuno, and she starts to drain the magic of the people around him. Yuno shoots a wind blast at her, and he stops her. Yuno calls the witch an old hag, and she gets furious by this, and she begins to shoot a dozen of blasts at him. But Yuno shoots a gust of wind towards them, and the attacks disappear. The witch then forms more blasts, and she sends them towards Yuno. But Yuno flies away from them, and he shoots gusts of wind at her. Over in the Northern District, Fuegoleon continues to question Rades about why he's attacking the place. Then he feels every mana signature of the captains disappear. "What is your objective here, and what are you doing here?" Rades laughs and tells Fuegoleon that they're here for him, and a magic portal appears under him. Because Asta is next to him, he pushes his uncle out of the way. "I can't let you get captured, uncle. Leave this to me." As the portal begins to consume Asta, everyone screams out his name as he leaves. Rades starts to laugh. He's going to die. Asta is teleported to a white room, and he looks around the entire thing. This place is nice. Too bad I'm going to have to destroy it. Asta spreads out his arms, and he begins to let out a wave of white flames surrounding the entire place. The guy that's there with Asta looks at him in the flames in shock because he's never seen anything like this. Asta activates his Mata Zone, then he pulls out one of his swords and he envelops it in flames. Without questioning who the person is, Asta rushes towards him to begin their fight. During the fight with Yuno and the witch, Yuno eventually gets hit by every blast that the witch throws at him, and his body shuts down and he can't sense anything. But then he has an awakening, and his spirit comes out and he's gained more power to finish her off. Yuno realizes that Asta mana has disappeared, and he rushes over to the area where Asta was to see what happened to him. As he arrives to the area, he sees Captain Fuegoleon screaming and grabbing the shirt of Rades, asking him where is Asta. Yuno asks Leo what happened, and Leo tells him everything. Noel begins to suspect that Rades isn't the one who is teleporting the people away. Yuno Wind Spirit tells him to check those pile of bodies, and Yuno sends a gust of wind towards it, and the guy that took Asta away appears. Asta's white magic flames is too chaotic for the guy to handle. Plus, his Demon Dweller sword cuts through all his attacks and repels his magic. So he thinks to let Asta go because it's pointless to fight him right now. He'll get him another day. As Asta rushes towards the man, a portal appears under him, and he's sent back to the capital. Everyone screams out Asta's name, and Asta looks around in shock. And this is where I'll be ending this part. Like, comment, and subscribe.